Hello and welcome back to Fundraising TV. Our topic for today is patrons, and we'll be hearing from some folks who've worked extensively with high-profile patrons. How do they get them? How do they retain them? And what advice have they got for us? Michaela Green is the Development and Communications Director at the Roundhouse. Michaela started her career at the National Theatre, where she was an events organiser. She went on to work with Stonewall, where she helped campaign for change in legislation, and since then she's been a fundraiser. I asked Michaela what it is that drives her, and in her words, it's the fact that every day she can see real impact in the lives of young people as a result of the work of the charity. Michaela, welcome to Fundraising TV. It's really great to have you here. We are all very impressed and jealous, frankly, of the wonderful ambassadors that you have up at the Roundhouse. Two questions: how do you get them and how do you keep them?
So we have a programme of ambassadors that we've engaged over the years in a number of ways. A number of them have come through wanting to work with our young people in our studios. So Jamie Cullum's a great example of that. He delivered a project for our young people in our studios, and he took part in a project we were doing at the Albert Hall with our Roundhouse Choir. Another key way that we do that is through our gala that we hold every 2 years. The gala is a major fundraising event for us, and it's been chaired for the last 2 years by Sally Wood, who also sits on our board of trustees and is one of our ambassadors. So she's fantastic in not necessarily bringing in new ambassadors, but bringing in new artistic, high-profile talent to support us at the event and to further engage with the work that we do. Our ambassador programme has changed, and it's something we want to review actually and look at how do we develop further and provide more opportunities for them to see the work that we do with young people, not just know us as a music venue. So that's a programme we're going to be looking at over the next couple of years. I think it requires a lot more resource than we thought. I think that's one of the areas that we've really considered that we need to invest in terms of how do we develop that programme further that engages them in a more consistent way throughout our programme and looks at the other touch points that they can have throughout the organisation, including fundraising, but also in terms of our work with young people. And
what kind of involvement do the ambassadors look for themselves? What do they ask you to get involved in?
I mean, some of them are ambassadors in the formal capacity, others are, they just want to take part in our projects, and sometimes that's through partnerships that we do with some of our corporate sponsors where they'll engage some high-profile celebrities or artists to come and work with our young people. But they really enjoy, those that do get involved, actually meeting the young emerging musicians, young emerging talent. With our gala, for example, it was a huge event, and we had performances by a whole range of artists, but not just established artists like Ronnie Wood and Imelda May, but also some of our emerging talent. So we put young people on the stage with these established artists, and I think our ambassadors and the artists that are engaging in that event really feel warm to the organisation because they're getting that opportunity and can see the direct benefits having on the young people that we work with.
How do you keep these celebrities engaged throughout the year?
Through communication, through invitation to events. So we have a host of events, gigs, our artistic programme throughout the year. We have our funders' dinners, so we'll invite them along to some of those dinners to attend and see more about the work that we do and further engage and share our work and the benefit that their support has on what we do as a charity.
And on occasion, do you have lots of celebrities working together? I know that happens at the gala, we can see it. Projects throughout the year, do you have more than one celebrity involved, and how do you manage that?
It's an area we want to grow. I think it's happened on project by project basis, probably 1 or 2 a year that we've worked with a celebrity on, and that's either us working with a celebrity ambassador that we work with, or, as I said before, it's about working with a partner. So one of our corporate partners is Nando's, and they deliver our project for our young people over a couple of days, and will also bring some artists down to work with the young people. So it really depends on what we're trying to deliver, whether it's a fundraising event or whether it's a specific project with our young people, and how and whether we can approach someone to support us in that work.
So, Michaela, give us a flavour of the kind of people who are your high-profile supporters.
I think I've talked about a number of them already, but Sadie Frost, for example, is one of our ambassadors, and she has supported our gala in particular for, I think, the last 3 galas that I've certainly ran. And she's been fantastic support on that committee, helping us to raise money and considerably grow our target each year. Sally Wood, as I mentioned, has chaired the gala for the last 2 years and brings to that event a wealth of experience, but contacts and the potential to source auction prizes. Jamie Cullum has run projects with our young people, as well as performed at the Albert Hall with our Roundhouse Choir. So it's been a real mix of how we've worked with those ambassadors, but they bring a huge amount, some of them, to the work that we do.
What advice do you have for fundraisers who are about to engage celebrity patrons for the first time?
Celebrity patrons are really, really useful to have on board. They can open doors that other people can't open. They often have a huge social media following, and that's a very useful component to engage in. And they can add glamour to an appeal. So when you're trying to get wealthy people to come and to give, then they're much more likely to come to an event if there is a major celebrity involved in that event that they can meet and chat to and talk to people about afterwards. So if you're trying to get them on board, then the way to do that is to both ensure that you're still using your case for support, that you have a really important cause, and to put that in front of the right celebrity. And we look for nationally known celebrities, those who use their voice in their works. It might be a newsreader, it might be an actor, it might be a poet, it might be somebody who can actually talk passionately about the organisation and really move hearts and minds, particularly the hearts. They're good at doing that. So getting them on board, you need to have the contact details. You may need to go to an agency like ours to find those contact details, or you might be able to go through that person's agency, and you need to be persistent. If you're not persistent, you're really not going to get anywhere. Sometimes one way of bringing them on board is to get them to do some work for you, to ask them to take part in an event. And once they've taken part of the event and they know and understand the organisation, then they're much more likely to support you. But you're looking always, when you're researching these people, for somebody who in their background has a friend, person, relative who has that kind of problem that you're dealing with, who is similar to your beneficiaries in some way. And that is usually the trigger that makes major donors, celebrities come on board, and major donors come on board with the organisation.
Well, it was an interesting story because actually the charity was set up because His Holiness had a wish, and the wish was to preserve Tibetan culture. And so really the charity was actually set up from wanting to fulfill one of the Dalai Lama's wishes. He kind of has 3 main thrusts of really what his motivations in life are. Spreading peace and compassion, but one of them is Tibetan cultural preservation. So really our charity is fulfilling one of the 3 aims of the Dalai Lama's wishes in his life. So really it certainly gives us a lot of motivation, and we try and use that as a leverage to encourage people to support us, because ultimately supporting us is supporting what the Dalai Lama would like to achieve in his life. So that's been really wonderful. It's really amazing how large an impact having His Holiness involved in any of our appeals. We've run a number of appeals where we haven't so much focused on him being our patron, and they've done quite well, but it's amazing how well an appeal runs when you actually have His Holiness endorsing the project that we're doing. Now, when we have that letter, which is, it has his seal and his signature. When that's incorporated into an appeal, it's amazing the difference that makes. Having him as a patron in that way is really, it's pretty much what guarantees the success of our appeals. But now with digital technology, we tend just to use a scan or a, you know, just you can put it on Facebook. You can, I mean, as soon as we got the letter from His Holiness, I actually had an email, and the email from the inbox said, "Email from His Holiness the Dalai Lama," message, and I actually put that on Facebook just because it's not every day you get an email from the Dalai Lama. So just the build up to it, it all gives the charity something to talk about. So again, that kind of just lift, you know, it's all about lifting the profile. The issue that we had around finding another patron is where they stand in the hierarchy of patrons. Because if you've got somebody like His Holiness the Dalai Lama as your patron, who could sit alongside him? So we've kind of had issues around actually recruiting other patrons, because in a way they'd possibly have to sit slightly below on the hierarchy, which is, it's an interesting thing to toy with. So really, that's still a stumbling block that we haven't quite, you know, overcome that issue.
Thank you for watching, and we hope that you find this episode of Fundraising TV on patrons useful, insightful, thought-provoking. We'd really like to hear from you. If you've got something to say about patrons, or indeed on another topic, please contact us at the details coming up on the screen. Goodbye.